Can the U.S. find the lithium it needs at home? Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from GeoFrame Energy is CEO Bruce Cutright. Hi, Bruce.
Good morning, Fred. Nice to see you.
Well, a pleasure to meet you. GeoFrame Energy has some big plans for the domestic production of lithium. You plan to break ground this summer in East Texas. Give us the overview.
Well, what we found is in the deep subsurface, in a geologic formation called the Smackover Formation, the, the brine that's contained within that formation contains relatively high concentrations of lithium in the range of 600 to 800 parts per million. We can produce that brine to the surface, and then we have a very innovative way, what's called an advanced solvent extraction process of extracting the lithium out of that brine, converting it to lithium carbonate, and making it available for the battery manufacturers throughout the U.S. Just a few statistics that one project in Northeast Texas will be able to meet all of the energy, the lithium carbonate needs of the United States by 2028, and will actually exceed the U.S. needs by late 2029 and produce about 20 to 30% more lithium carbonate than the U.S. needs for export.
And that's even factoring in the rising demand with EVs and battery storage, et cetera.
Exactly, but making projections based on what the demand is today. The U.S. uses about 60,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate today in battery manufacturing predominantly, and we'll be able to meet that demand plus about 20,000 more metric tons above the demand today. Now, in 3 years or 5 years, the demand is expected to grow, so we don't know how large that will be. Goldman Sachs has made some projections that the supply of lithium carbonate will fall short of the demand by 2030 on the order of over 40,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate per year.
And you expect to have enough to even become an exporter of this, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We think that we'll be able to export about 20 to 30% of what we produce by 2029. We have some of the international companies are already interested and have said, well, we'll buy everything you produce, but we don't have signed contracts yet because we want to wait and see what the price is when they actually walk in the door. But we are in discussions with the major consumers and retailers.
Very exciting. And we should point out to people who might be salivating, you are a private company, at least at this point. You do have partners, though, who are working with you on this.
Absolutely. We couldn't do this alone. So we have an excellent partner that handles all of the underground work. We drill very deep wells and produce the lithium containing brines from the deep subsurface. And this is Halliburton. It's one of the largest drilling and reservoir management firms in the world. We also have construction firms that are prepared to do all of the surface construction, and we have relationships with turbine manufacturers who produce the energy that we will use. And we have a partnership with a company called EcoSolve out of Australia that is actually moving to the U.S. They'll locate their offices here in Texas. That is the expertise in the direct lithium extraction process.
And I understand you're taking an approach that is environmentally conscious. Describe for us what that means.
Absolutely. We're aware of the concerns that people have from the large petroleum industry and some of the things that have happened there. Well, we're drilling deep wells, but these wells will be cased through all of the underground sources of drinking water and will separate from the subsurface with both cement and iron casings so that protects from any kind of contamination. The fluid we produce will first come up to the wellhead and then go into underground pipes that will bring it to our actual plant site. And now one of the innovative things we've added is this fluid we produce from the subsurface is hot. So we can produce geothermal energy from that hot fluid. And that is zero emissions, no carbon dioxide production, no fossil fuel consumption, produces clean renewable energy. And then the fluid is, after being cooled by the geothermal plant, is passed on to the direct lithium extraction plant. The lithium is extracted, and then the spent fluid is re-injected deep underground back into the reservoir where we produce it from.
And that geothermal aspect is something you know quite a bit about. Tell us more about your background and how this has evolved.
Sure. Well, the key thing, I founded and ran the Geothermal Energy Research Group at the University of Texas Bureau of Economic Geology. Uh, had some fantastic graduate students. We developed some very innovative ways of using sparse data to predict where heat flow is and where the production of geothermal energy would be possible. But we applied those type of approaches to what was being done in the private industry and saw that we were a couple decades ahead of them. So at that time, I retired from the University of Texas and started our company and have some of the graduate students working with me now. So we've got a great team and really what we believe is creating a new technological advance in both subsurface fluid production and in the direct extraction of both energy and lithium.
And I guess I can envision energy being stored in these batteries using your lithium that maybe comes from geothermal.
Exactly. And you have to differentiate. It's lithium carbonate, which is the key component. Well, it's lithium carbonate and graphite are the two key components in all of the batteries that you see in your computers and your cell phones, in all the electric vehicles, and in the really expansion of large energy storage facilities for these big data centers and AI data centers. So that's the key component. And by combining the production of that from the use of geothermal energy, we can produce what is classified as green lithium. There are no carbon emissions in the process. There's no surface contamination. The water use in the industrial process is all recycled. So you could be sitting next to this plant and it would look like nothing more than a Amazon warehouse at its worst. So this, we believe, we have incorporated all of the key environmental concerns that the public might have or that anyone else might have to be sure that we're environmentally conscious and attentive to the idea that we can do industrial processes in a clean and safe manner.
And when it comes to the demand, you're seeing a rapid rise, I guess, with the AI data centers. Tell us about that, and it's overtaking or it may overtake the demand as far as this component is concerned that we see
We yeah,
EVs.
the biggest use of lithium carbonate right now is for the electric vehicle batteries, and nationwide, I think they're consuming about 30 to 40% of the total lithium carbonate production in the U.S. But what's missing, and what's very hard to estimate right now, is the huge energy storage batteries that are now necessary for the large data centers and in essence, uh, quadrupling of the energy storage demands that these big AI data centers have now. There's been an order of magnitude increase in the amount of energy these AI data centers need over the prior just data center 3 to 5 years ago. So we see the growth in the use of lithium carbonate energy storage batteries for these data centers growing faster than the electric vehicle use demands. Goldman Sachs just released a study earlier or late last year that showed that the growth in demand for lithium carbonate will far exceed the supply of lithium carbonate on the order of a 30% shortfall by 2030, which is not that far away. So we are building as fast as we can. We recognize the national need for that. The president's executive order on critical minerals, that's one of the things that is driving what we're doing. So there is both a national need, a market demand, and a critical mineral support to make these types of projects happen.
I know there's been talk about how the grid can keep up with the demands of these data centers, for instance, and The role that you can play here is what?
Well, I think we're twofold. First, you do have to store energy. And as you know, there's peak energy use during the day, and then there's a very low energy use during the night. Well, the peak energy use that the data centers are demanding is more or less level. So when the demand from the general public drops down in the night, the data centers can capture that energy and store it in batteries. That's one way. The other thing that we're doing is the use of geothermal energy to to support the entire process that we're doing. Geothermal provides baseload energy 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It has a record of having a higher online availability than any other generation method. Better than nuclear, better than coal, better than natural gas. So we want to both expand the use of geothermal energy and really show how it can be applied to meeting the national need for critical minerals.
And with the geothermal, there are some countries that are way ahead of us in using it, I think, today. Why
Uh,
hasn't it grown more quickly in the US, and do you expect that it will?
well, we do expect it will. Places like Iceland, New Zealand, they are committed to growing geothermal use and are being successful at it. The Philippines and Indonesia both have huge geothermal components. The U.S. has, I think it's about 7,000 megawatts of installed. No, that's not. I'm sorry, that number is not correct. But most of the geothermal power here in the U.S. is in the western U.S., Nevada, California, and there's a huge resource there, but it is underdeveloped. And the roadblocks have been investment. It's hard to attract an investor to come in and invest in a project that is underground and they can't tell what the results will be. And so they don't listen to the experts that say, we can drill here, we can produce energy. They regard it as riskier than solar or wind because you can see the sunshine and you can see the wind blow. But neither one of those sources, renewable energy from wind and solar, they're all intermittent. And so geothermal power is the only base load renewable energy that can meet the national needs. So we expect to see a huge expansion in the geothermal energy field.
Very interesting. For more info on all that you're doing, Bruce, where's the best place for people to go?
Well, our website, you can check that out at geoframeenergy.com. There's the Department of Energy maintains a couple of very good websites on geothermal power. If you look under the Department of Energy Critical Minerals Division, there's some great statistics on the need for and demand of lithium carbonate. And then I think I can't remember the exact, it's the EERE. I think it's Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy website that has a very good tutorial on the development of geothermal energy, and the Critical Minerals Division has a great summary of the existing lithium carbonate production facilities, both around the world and in the U.S.
The website again is geoframeenergy.com. Congratulations on the work you and the team there are doing. Bruce Cutright, thanks for spending time with us.
Thanks so much, Fred. Good luck on your presentations.